Morning everybody, how are y'all doing today? I'm doing great myself because who would have guessed? Cucumber himself wasn't too happy that somebody criticized him. Oh no, his feelings are hurt. Which is a little ironic because Quantum, I could have sworn in your original video on God of War Ragnarok, you said, oh what was it? Oh yeah, it was this.
If you don't like what I had to say about it, that's fine, enjoy it, play it, do your thing.
But of course, the second somebody doesn't like your review and does what they want, then you have a problem with it. Because not only did you come after me in this video, you also went after Gara and the Birdman himself, Review Tech USA. But you know what? Unlike you, I don't have a problem with being called out. Because guess what? Then I get to make more content and then more people get to watch it. It's a great thing we have going on here, Quantum. Please never stop. But yeah, with that little intro out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this. Also, please enjoy this God of War gameplay where I do nothing but die the entire time and I almost threw my controller out the adjacent window.
Reliably every time. Why is it always the guys that are the enthusiastic eaters with self-proclaimed thyroid problems that literally go out of their way to crap talk other people?
Quantum, if you knew anything about me at all, you would know that I am actually the exact opposite of overweight and I don't have any of those problems. I mean, yeah, I like to eat, but it doesn't exactly do anything to my weight per se. For reference, I'm 6'1" and 150 pounds. That's not exactly what I'd consider overweight. I was actually 140 until I went off to college and then I gained the freshman 15 or the freshman 10, whatever. Still gotta add those extra 5 pounds, I guess. But yeah, I am the complete opposite of that.
Couldn't tell you, but it seems to be a reoccurring thing in the gaming world. All of the people who lost a genetic lottery coming together to try to trash somebody for their take on a video game. I mean, the losers in 2022 are too much, but let's talk about it.
Ah yes, we're the losers for sharing our disagreeing opinions. You're definitely not a loser for not letting this go. And you're also definitely not a loser for filing false copyright strikes when people don't like what you say. Now, credit where credit's due, you haven't done it this time around, but the fact that the most credit that I can give you is that you haven't broken the law is actually really sad. Also, little heads up here, volume warning in 3, 2, 1.
In my last video about this game, The Dad of War, I was talking about how slow the pacing of the game was. Now, I did also leave like a little caveat where I said like it could get better, I don't know, right? Again, very open-ended I thought, but now you have people like Review Tech USA trying to trash my opinion while candidly playing a video game as if that's not pathetic behavior enough, and trying to make it like it's front page news.
No, Quantum, nobody is trying to make this like front page news except for you because you know this is the only way you're gonna stay relevant. Nobody's making this front page news. Nobody's like pinning this to the front of their channel like under that little home tab. Nobody's putting this in their Discord and then making it the pinned message of the day or anything like that. People are just making videos talking about you because they didn't agree with what you said. And no, dude, saying it could get better is not being open-ended. That's just a classic way to cover yourself after you make a god-awful video. And I love how you'll fail to mention the fact that you said, oh, why does it matter that his dog dies? He has more. The fact that you advocated for Kratos to commit domestic abuse. I still can't get over that one. Or the fact that, you know, your original video was supposed to be a review of the TV showing it off, and then all you did the entire time was just play the game and complain about every single thing that happened.
We're in such a point in society where you can't even play a video game candidly with your audience without people trying to cancel you because they just don't like you. Which frankly, I don't give a fuck that you don't like me. But the fact that you're creating fake news literally trying to claim that I reviewed this game which never took place and came up with some imaginary verdict again which never took place, it speaks everything about the desperation of the individuals that support Review Tech USA that watch his shit are trying to go to try to cancel somebody because they don't like them.
Quantum, dude, you're taking this way too seriously. Nobody was trying to cancel you. At least not over this whole God of War thing. People were just sharing their disagreements. Did one single person say, come on, guys, we all need to cancel Quantum, go flag his video? No, that never happened. Nobody is trying to cancel you. You're just lying to your audience to farm sympathy points. Also, what do you mean you were trying to play the game with your audience? You recorded a video and then uploaded it. It's not like it was on a live stream or something. How is that playing with your audience? And also, nobody came up with a verdict or anything. Nobody said you gave this game like a 1 out of 10 or anything. People were just calling you out because you had some bad takes. And on top of that, as to the whole review thing, it's true, you didn't review the game. They were your first impressions. But Quantum, which sounds like a better and more cohesive title to you? Which one flows better? Quantum TV made a bad God of War review, or Quantum TV had really bad God of War first impressions? That second one just rolls off the tongue like butter now, doesn't it? And either way, I don't think it matters. I think people still would have clicked the video either way. And if you don't care, why are you so angry?
Now let me talk a little bit about this game, okay? If they would have opened like this, the game would have been a solid 10 out of 10. Because they have a point in the game when you first open up the game where it talks about give me a recap. If you don't want the recap, they shouldn't be sitting around a campfire on a very slow-paced scene, rehashing a lot of the concepts like hunting and him being a dad. We already saw all of that in the first game. We don't care about that. We want immediately a continuation, who's coming for you and why.
Quantum, have you ever heard of, opening up the story a little bit? I guarantee if the game started with the Thor fight scene, it would have been so damn confusing. Like, how could you possibly... Think about it this way, okay? Imagine everything leading up to the Thor fight was just not there. Like, you never see the meeting with Odin. You never see Odin and Thor visit Kratos at his house. You never see Freya attack them in the woods or anything. You just start the game and you're instantly in the middle of fighting Thor. How could they possibly, after that fight, explain the context that led up to it? That doesn't make any sense. The way the story was set up is so that they needed to have that slower start to give context for what was going to happen. If you cut out that first part of the game and you just get thrown into a fight with Thor, you're going to be like, whoa, what the hell did I miss? Man, the game is just skimming through so much. How did we go from burying mommy's ashes on the top of the mountain to fighting the god of thunder himself? That would have made no sense whatsoever.
And that's the kind of stuff we needed to see. This opening action scene from the get. Not me sitting there for like a minute and 50 seconds while he's just sitting around a campfire eating shit. Like, that is not how you hook people with writing. And I think, again, creative writing is what's missing from the opening of that story that made it so insufferable for me. And I was bored out of my mind. It really was.
Yeah, like I said in my initial video covering your video, if you want instant action, like right off the bat, no questions asked whatsoever, trust me, do yourself a favor and pick up Doom Eternal. Hell, you can even get it on Game Pass for like $10 if you want to. One of the greatest first-person shooters ever made, trust me. And there is no lack of action.
And I did indeed have to turn the game off and come back to it like a day or two later, because I was bored. And I think, again, had they opened like this, I'd have been hooked from the get. So that concept of me selecting get a story, because I saw people in the comment section complaining, saying, oh, but you said you wanted a story, you got a story, and now you're complaining about it. It's like, no, I got Kratos, okay, enough said there, sitting around a campfire, reminiscing about the old days of him and his wife. That's not why you buy an action game like this.
Jesus Christ, this dude cannot be this stupid. You asked for a story and you got the intro to the story. And also, I understand changing the difficulty wouldn't have changed when the combat started or anything, but the irony in you picking give me a story and then complaining when you get a story, it's just funny, that's all. And to get a story, they have to introduce it first. There's clearly been like, what, a 3-year time jump between the last game and this one. So of course, they gotta start out a little slower to build everything back up. You got to be introduced to Atreus being older now. You have to take in what's going on with Fimbulwinter. It's called irony, Quantum. Chill out, dude.
Okay, he's like neutered at that point. It's a very watered down version of Kratos, if I do say so myself. Now, then we get to the point where I saw them complaining about the fact that I didn't like the graphics in performance mode, and they're like, that's a contradiction. No, it's not. Have you ever played Spider-Man Remastered? Spider-Man Miles Morales? Those games take advantage of some level of the PS5's power.
And how does this not? The game still looks absurdly good in performance mode. How does this not take advantage of the PS5's power? If you set the game to quality mode, you will be playing at 4K, or I don't know if it's upscaled 4K or not, probably is. But 4K, and you're gonna have ray tracing turned on. The only caveat is the 30 FPS. This is like the embodiment of a whiny PC master race, dude. Complaining a $500 console can't run every single game at 4K with ray tracing maxed out settings. You're setting your expectations way too high, just like what you did with the Steam Deck. And by the way, how did Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales take advantage of the PS5 hardware where God of War Ragnarok has not? Please provide an example.
This does not. This is basically a PS4 port, a PS4 Pro port, let's call it what it is. It is doing nothing more than what the PS4 Pro could do. And it's embarrassing because this is PlayStation 5. They are charging $69.99 under the guise that they're optimizing the graphics so much and they're doing so much, and we can't even get 4K 60 in performance mode with temporal, injection. It's like you could have used checkerboard rendering or some fucking resolution reconstructive method to get us to the higher resolutions.
I'm genuinely done at this point. Just look at this screenshot. It took me 3 seconds to type this in. Performance mode gives the game a buttery smooth 60 frames per second with a respectable resolution minimum of 1440 targeting 4K. They literally did exactly what you are asking for. They have a dynamic resolution which at minimum goes to 1440p and tries to get to 4K whenever it can. They did exactly what you are asking for. And on top of that, with VRR, you can get all the way up to 120 FPS. This isn't even a valid complaint because they're doing exactly what you asked them to do. Oh my god, I'm in actual pain right now.
And they didn't. In place of that, because maybe that's too expensive on the hardware, they could have used anisotropic filtering times 16 to give us sharper textures. They didn't. Instead, when you get close up on things look muddy, they look like the low textures that they are, and it's terrible in performance mode. Now, you can go to graphics mode and things are sharp, which is great, but when you start moving around, 30 FPS, because again, you're not getting 4K 60.
Yeah, like I just said, in the performance mode, you're getting upscaled 4K at 60 FPS. And how do you know they're not using the texture filtering that you're talking about? I'm not even going to try to pronounce it because I know I'm just going to hurt myself and you guys. But how do you know they're not using that? I just tried to look it up and you can't find anything proving that they use it or proving that they don't use it. And even then, once again, you're in performance mode and you're getting the 4K 60 that you so desperately craved. God damn, this PC Master Race attitude, dude, I hate it. Expecting to be able to max out everything on a $500 console. That's not how it works. The fact that they got an upscaled 4K 60 working is actually really impressive considering it never goes below 1440. Somewhere a sacrifice has to be made, Quantum. And if you don't like it, then you can just wait for it to come to PC.
It gets to a point where you start realizing they're not utilizing the power of this machine. And they're damn sure not advertising or using what they advertised in the beginning when they were like, oh yeah, the PS5 is super powerful, all that good stuff. So my point is simply this. When I say certain things about this game, pointing out weak points in a candid playthrough session, they still stand. It's not a contradiction that somebody wants good graphics on PlayStation 5. That's why you bought a PlayStation 5.
Wow, Quantum, way to spin it. Nobody was knocking you for wanting good graphics on a PlayStation 5. People were knocking you because you weren't impressed with the graphics when you had selected the performance mode of a game. If you want the best graphics possible, sorry bud, you're gonna have to lose that 60 FPS. It sucks that that's how it is, but welcome to $500 consoles. Again, if you want everything maxed out, 4K ray tracing running at 60 FPS, wait until it comes to PC. Because until we live in like some cyberpunk type future, I highly doubt we're ever going to be seeing consoles pulling that.
You want the next generation. Otherwise, you would just play, this same exact game on PS4 Pro and be happy with the graphics that it has. But everybody's always trying to upgrade graphics and get something better out of the experience. And to try to sit there and act like that is not the case. Meanwhile, the moment PlayStation gets a hardware advantage, or Xbox gets a hardware advantage, everybody's talking about T-flops and power. Let's call it what it is. People are excited for these games to look better than they've ever looked.
First of all, and I think I meant to address this earlier, but this game is not the same as the PS4 Pro version. This game runs infinitely better and looks infinitely better. Second of all, consoles have never had the hardware advantage. PCs always have and always will have the hardware advantage. And guess what? People usually get excited about those new graphics and stuff because of the tech demos that companies use to show off what they can do. Remember when the PS5 and Series X and S were coming out and there were all those commercials about, like, you know, actual in-game footage? This was in-engine footage. That's what got people hyped up, because that stuff looked hyper-realistic. But surprise, surprise, we still haven't seen a game look that good yet, at least to my knowledge. Even a game as good-looking as this one does not look as good as those games did. It's almost like they exaggerated the marketing to build hype.
And again, we want the more immersive stories. We don't want slow, boring, neutered versions of characters. Kratos used to be such a badass on PS2, and now you had to wait just to get dual blades. It's ridiculous. That's something that should have been unlocked from the jump, because you unlocked it from the jump in the last game. But again, they didn't open the game like this with some epic cinematic clash. They opened it with some boring tale of dabs. So let me just say it like this.
Before he says it like this Thor fight, for those of you who don't know, happens within, like, what, the first hour of the game? Remember the trailers and they showed Kratos and Thor, like, swinging at each other, and the axe and the hammer collide with each other, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Yeah, all that hype literally happens within the first hour of the game. Look, I understand the very beginning is a little slow, but it does not take long to jump into the action. Then again, as we've seen with the Steam Deck, Quantum has literally no patience whatsoever, so what am I expecting?
I don't care if you don't like my take. I don't care if you don't like me, but don't go sitting there creating fake news to make yourself some money because you have no real content. And that's really as simple as it gets. I've never given a review on this game. That review is coming after maybe I've beaten this game, but for now, I'm gonna enjoy it at my pace. Thanks for watching the #1 brand in honesty. Until the next video, I'll see you guys later.
You don't care if we don't like your take, but you spent this entire video complaining that we didn't like your take and trying to justify all the reasons you had in the previous video. Okay, sure, dude. Also, I genuinely cannot wait for that review of this game. I am so excited for that, because I think we already know how this is gonna go. Elden Ring Part 3, anybody? Because, you know, Part 2 is the Steam Deck. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. What we learned today is Quantum truly just doesn't care what we think about him, even though, you know, he made all those videos in the past and he just made this 6-minute rant video on why he was actually right in this entire situation. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will catch you all next time.